Good morning and welcome to this edition of Seniors Right, your advocate for the savvy senior. Powered to you by Fifth Third Bank. I'm Mark Wallace, your host and facilitator of this edition of Seniors Right, and a very good Saturday morning to each and every one of you. We have a fantastic topic of discussion today. This has been many questions that have asked of me all around the city where I am traveling. People are asking me this question. In particular, people in our senior community are having challenges with refinancing their mortgage. And here to discuss with us some possible ways that you could find some solution, the program that is called HARP. Everybody has been asking about this, and so we are going to bring this information to you today. My guest is Megan Moore, who is a special advisor for the Federal Housing Finance Agency. This is of the Office of Congressional Affairs and Communications. Megan, welcome to the program, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to join today's show.
Thanks so much. Can you tell us now, what is HARP and who does HARP help?
Sure. So HARP is the Home Affordable Refinance Program, and it was created to help homeowners who are current on their mortgage but have little to no equity in their homes. And so when you have little equity in your home or owe as much on your mortgage than your home is worth, it can be difficult to find a lender willing to help you refinance. But for borrowers who have remained current on their mortgage and have a loan owned or guaranteed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, there is hope, and it's called HARP. And HARP was introduced in March of 2009 to enable borrowers who owe more than their home is worth. And so essentially, if your home is only worth $50,000, but you owe $100,000, that's what we call underwater. And so if you are underwater and you're looking to either lower your interest rate or shorten your term of your mortgage, HARP is the program for you.
Now, what about people who have mortgages? They paid their mortgages on time. They have excellent credit. They might have a first mortgage and a second mortgage, and they have the second mortgage is that of a line of credit, and of course they have the first mortgage, which is their primary or original mortgage. But they want to consolidate them, but they're still having problems because of equity trying to consolidate those two mortgages. Does the HARP program help them?
Absolutely. The HARP program would definitely help them. And there's really just 4 easy steps to figure out if you're eligible. The first is that your mortgage must be owned or guaranteed by Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae, and I'll tell you how you can figure that out. Second, your mortgage must have been originated on or before May 31st, 2009. The third requirement is that your current loan-to-value ratio must be greater than 80%. And then the fourth requirement is that you are current on your mortgage with no 30-day late payments in the last 6 months and no more than one late payment in the past 12 months. And we've made a lot of changes to the program along the way to really make it as easy as possible for homeowners to refinance. And even if you've been turned down before, you should try again because we have made program changes. And it's really simple. The process is quick and easy, and most homeowners don't have to get an appraisal or have their loan underwritten. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for homeowners to refinance. And so one of the first criteria I said is that your loan must be owned or guaranteed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. So one of the first questions I get is, well, how can I find that out? And so you can go to harp.gov, HARP.gov, and we have a loan lookup tool, and it's really easy. You just put in your address and a little information about your loan and yourself, and you can find out if Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac own your mortgage. And if they do, then you should proceed to figure out if you want to take advantage of the program.
And if they have, does Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac have to own both the mortgages that you have, if you have a first and a second, or just the primary mortgage?
I believe just the primary mortgage.
So
But also you can refinance if your home is your primary mortgage, but also if you have a 1-unit second home or a 1 to 4 unit investment property, you can also take advantage of HARP.
Okay, so what if you have your primary home is a 1 to 4 unit?
Yes, absolutely. You can definitely take advantage of the program if you meet those eligibility requirements.
All right. So just so that we make clear, because I know that lay people they have a hard time really catching on to it. So we may have to repeat a couple of things because this is speaking to our seniors who really ask these questions, and this has been one of our most popular requested topics from our senior community. So if they have a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac owned first mortgage and their second mortgage is not a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac owned, they could use the HARP program to consolidate those two?
Yes, you can. You can consolidate them, or you can just focus on the first primary loan as well.
Okay, very good.
But the beauty of the program is that, what I like most about it is that it's really for people who have, steadfast through the crisis, who have continued to make their payments, but unfortunately saw the value of their home decline. And what makes the program so great is that it can lower your monthly payment and really save a lot of money. Particularly folks in Chicago can save about $2,400 a year, and that's significant savings. And there are a lot of people in Chicago and Illinois who are eligible. So the numbers I have handy says that there's over 14,000 homeowners in the Chicagoland area who can take advantage of this program. And the program's been around since 2009. Hundreds of thousands of homeowners in Chicago have already taken advantage, but we really want to get to those folks who still are eligible and can take advantage of the program before it expires, because it will expire this year. And once again, the two great benefits of the program is that you can lower your interest rate, which essentially helps you lower your payment every month. And then also, you can also shorten the term of your mortgage. You don't have to start over with another 30-year mortgage. You can refinance into a 20-year mortgage or even a 15-year mortgage, which helps you build up equity faster.
And are there designated lenders that they would have to go to in order to see if they qualify for the HARP program? Because what I'm told is that some people go to their lenders and their lenders tell them that they're not able to qualify for the program, and it seems that they have everything in line. They've lost significant equity in their home. They have excellent credit. They pay their mortgage. But they could take advantage of this, and this would certainly help them by reducing their payments. What do they do if they believe that they fit the criteria but don't seem to be getting the help from the institution?
Absolutely. Well, we definitely encourage you to call your lender. That's the company that you send your mortgage payments to as soon as possible, and ask them if they participate in HARP. But what we try to do is we really try to inform the homeowner and arm them with as much information as possible. So if you go to harp.gov, we give you all the information, and you can actually see a list of all the lenders who offer the program. And even if your current lender doesn't offer HARP, there are other lenders that you can contact. One of the nice things of the program is that you don't have to just go to your current lender. You can go to a different lender and refinance as well. So if you go to harp.gov, HARP.gov, and you go to the resources tab, you can find a lender who can discuss your options and your eligibility with you. But that's another great flexibility of the program, is that you do not have to go to your lender. You can go to a different lender.
And what are the income requirements? Are there debt-to-ratio income requirements for HARP?
There are not. And there's no minimum credit score. There's no debt-to-income ratio requirements, none of that. You just have to follow those four easy steps that I outlined, and I'll mention those again. The first is that your mortgage must be owned or guaranteed by Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae. Your mortgage must have been originated on or before May 31st, 2009. You must owe more, or we call it the loan-to-value ratio, must be greater than 80%, and that you can only have one late payment in the last 12 months. And those are the four easy eligibility requirements. But you don't have to have a minimum credit score. There's no income requirements. And we try to make it as easy as possible to take advantage of this program.
Wow. This is great. And I think that a lot of people can be helped by this. And why is the program expiring, and when will it expire? You're saying it's going to expire this year. Do you know when it will expire, and if this current administration has any consideration for extending the program?
Sure. So in 2009, at the height of the crisis, there were a number of programs that were introduced and created to help homeowners. The first is mainly a modification program that I know hopefully some of your listeners are familiar with. So if you're delinquent on your mortgage, if you miss payments or you're having a hard time making those payments, if you lost your job, so those were like the main programs that were created after the crisis. And then this program was created to complement the programs for people who are delinquent on their mortgage by offering homeowners who are current on their mortgage an opportunity to refinance. So at the heart of the crisis, all these programs were created, but as the housing market has recovered, we are starting to retire these quote-unquote crisis-era programs. So the program HARP will expire on September 30th, 2017. And the program's been around since 2009. And what we try to do is tell people this is not a scam. This is a real program. It has real benefits. It can help you save money every month. Once again, you can save almost $200 a month and up to $2,400 a year. And this is a real program. And what we try to do is tell people when you do get something in the mail about the program, check it out. We also want people to avoid scams as well and not be taken advantage. But we really want people who are still eligible for the program, those 14,000 homeowners in Chicago, to take advantage of the program before it expires on September 30th of this year.
Okay, and you said that there have been some changes. When we come back from the break, I'd like to talk about some of those changes that has been made to the program to make it easier for people to qualify for it. And then we want to open up and take some calls from some of our listeners that can get some answers. And I think this is going to be a great encouraging moment. We're talking with Megan Moore from the Federal Housing Finance Agency of the Office of Congressional Affairs and Communications about the HARP program. We'll be back in just a moment, and we're powered by Fifth Third Bank.
The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
1 in 3 seniors die with Alzheimer's or another dementia. Alzheimer's, a form of dementia, kills more than breast cancer and prostate cancer combined. Over 5 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's, and by 2050, this number could rise as high as 16 million. This Saturday on the Community Health Focus Hour, host Dr. Dorian Miller and her guest, including an Alzheimer's caregiver, will talk about memory loss and its impact on the patient and caregiver.
Tune in to the Community Health Focus Hour, Saturdays at 1 p.m., sponsored by the University of Chicago Medicine at the forefront of medicine.
My number 2 does not look like a number 2. I don't know what to call it. Is there a number 3?
Table for 4, please. Anything close to the restroom.
A middle seat with these stomach problems? That's my fear of flying.
Sound like you? If it does, you could be one of the many people with a digestive condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Even if you don't know what EPI is, you might know the symptoms. Frequent diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain. If you have even just one of these symptoms, you could still have EPI. Because not everybody experiences EPI the same way, which is why it's so important to open up to your doctor about all your symptoms. And the good news is, EPI is manageable, so don't keep a lid on it. Go to identifyepi.com, complete the symptom checker, and use it to have a conversation with your doctor. Don't keep a lid on it. Visit identifyepi.com. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube. We're everywhere. Get social with us. The Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM WVON.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Mark Wallace, your host and facilitator of this edition of Seniors' Rights, your advocates for the savvy senior. We're talking with Megan Moore, Special Advisor, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, about the HARP program. And thank you once again for being here. And we're brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. Great program. Megan, you said that there have been some changes that would make the program easier for people to qualify for. Could you talk about some of those?
Sure, absolutely. So one example of a program change is that the LTV ceiling was removed. So you're probably thinking, what is that? So LTV is your loan to value ratio. So for example, if you owe $100,000 on your mortgage, but your home is only worth $50,000, you would have a loan to value ratio of 150%. When the program was first introduced, there was a ceiling on that ratio, but now we removed it. So no matter how underwater you are, you can qualify for this program. And that was a real significant change. We really wanted to help homeowners who were underwater on their mortgage. And once again, underwater means that you owe more than your home is worth, to take advantage of this program, because we know that it would help them in the long run either lower their monthly payment or shorten the term of their mortgage. So that was a very important change. Another change that we made is that there are certain appraisal requirements that are now waived. And once again, we really wanted to make this easy for homeowners. We don't want to make this onerous for you. And so that was another change that hopefully made a big impact. And then also there were certain fees that borrowers were included in the refinance, and so those were eliminated as well. And then over the course of the years, we've changed the expiration date. And so once again, that date now is September 30th of 2017. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible and let people know this is a real program. It's not a scam, and you should take advantage of it.
So the expiration date was extended to September 2017.
It's been extended a couple different times because we know that there are still homeowners across the country who are eligible. And we were actually in Chicago at the Woodson Library a couple years ago talking about this program. And it was very important to us to reach as many homeowners as possible who are eligible for the program before it expires. And once again, there's 14,000 homeowners in the Chicagoland area who are eligible, and you can save up to $200 a month by refinancing through this program.
So if the LTV ceiling has been removed, does that mean that through the HARP program that they will be able to restructure the debt, and or are they just refinancing the entire debt?
You're just refinancing the entire debt. So you're either going to lower your interest rate or shorten the term of your mortgage. Now, if you want to change the terms of your mortgage, that's usually called a loan modification. And one of the main programs that is available is called HAMP. And that's the Home Affordable Modification Program. And that's primarily for homeowners who have fallen behind on their payments and are struggling to make their monthly payments. And if you need to restructure your loan, you can get a modification. But if you're current on your loan and you want to lower your interest rate or shorten the term, you can refinance.
Okay, so the HAMP program only covers those who have fallen behind. So
correct, and that's the easy way to think of it. You know, if you're behind on your mortgage, go to HAMP. If you're current and you want to refinance, go to HARP. And I know that's a lot of acronyms. We love acronyms in Washington.
Right. Yeah, I like them too because it you find a little easier system to try and remember them. All right, so so the person who has not fallen behind, they have good credit, they do everything that they're supposed to do except for their homes are underwater, they would go to the HARP program, and the HARP program is only going to consolidate and refinance the debt to lower your payments, right?
Correct. And if you want to talk to someone, there are housing counselors who can help, particularly some in Chicago. NID is a housing counseling agency, and they have affiliates on Cottage Grove and Stony Island. And you can go to nidonline.org. And I think it's also important for your listeners to really avoid scams. And I know that that's been some of the hesitancy in responding to phone calls or mail about the HARP program. And you should be careful to avoid scams. You should be aware of anyone that's seeking to charge you in advance. In most cases, charging fees in advance is illegal. Only your mortgage company has the discretion to grant you a modification or a refinance. So don't trust a third party who says that they can pre-approve you for a refinance. And also just beware of individuals and companies who insist that you send payments to them instead of the company that you send your mortgage payments to. So we really want to make sure people avoid scams. And if you need help, you can definitely contact a HUD-approved housing counselor in Chicago. And there are 37 HUD-approved housing counselors in Chicago alone. And you can go to HUD.gov to find all 37. And the one I gave you as an example is NID, which has offices in Chicago as well. So we want to make sure that people are avoiding scams, but we also want to make sure that people know that this is a real program with real benefits, and it's going away. And so before this program expires, we want those 14,000 homeowners in Chicago to save significantly each month and each year.
All right. Thank you very much for that. So what else are there? Should our listeners know about the HARP program that they don't know about?
Well, one of the easy things you can find out is your interest rate. So you should look at your statement and figure out what your interest rate is. Interest rates have been really low for the last several years, but as you know now, they're starting to inch up. And so that's really the timeliness of this program. You know, while rates are still pretty decent, you want to refinance. So you should check out your interest rate. I know that I've talked to a lot of family members, a lot of friends of the program. I was recently at a party where a woman had a 7% interest rate, which is really high. And she heard about the program and got phone calls and letters in the mail, but just thought it was too good to be true. And so I was really happy to hear that she used the resources available on HARP.gov to figure out that she was eligible, and then she contacted her lender, and she was able to refinance from a 7% interest rate to a rate a little below 4%. And that's significant savings, and everybody would love to have a couple extra dollars in their pocket every month. And it really helped that woman save money, and so that was a really good success story. So that's one of the big advantages. If you're paying a really high interest rate, you can lower that interest rate and save a lot of money.
Was there ever any consideration through the HARP program for those people who are underwater of looking at their homes and perhaps maybe restructuring that debt, knowing that they even when they first got that loan, that the property was probably overvalued at that time, and having some sort of a combination of the HARP program to work to help those individuals?
Yeah, so once again, the HAMP program is if you've fallen behind on your mortgage, but you can combine the two. So say a few years ago you fell behind on your mortgage and you were able to take advantage of HAMP, and now you're current on your mortgage. You could also now qualify for HARP. So if you were able to catch up on your payments, get back into a performing loan, and now you want to see if you're able to refinance, you can as well. So you can take advantage of both programs. And once again, you should go to HARP.gov. I love the .gov website. That's a credible source. That's a government website, and that's where you can find all the credible, accurate information.
So, because with the HARP program, you can only be late once in 12 months. So
correct.
You went through the HAMP program and you paid through the HAMP program. You got your loan restructured. You paid through the HAMP program, and you've been current for 12 months. You can then go and apply for the HARP program that could get you an even lower interest rate. Is that correct?
You got it. Absolutely.
That's phenomenal because, a lot of people didn't know that. So, again, listeners, if you're underwater and you've fallen behind on your payments, you can go through the HAMP programs. You can go through the HAMP.gov. Is that what it is?
It's makinghomeaffordable.gov.
Makinghomeaffordable.gov.
Correct.
And then you can look at the HAMP program and qualify for that program, pay your mortgage on time for 12 months. Then you can go and qualify to get your mortgage lowered even more through the HARP program. This is fantastic news. That has been a question that a lot of people have been asking. What do? I'm underwater. I pay my mortgage on time, and they're telling me that I have to be behind. I don't want my credit to go bad.
Absolutely.
Or, I don't want to let my mortgage fall behind. What do those people do? What is there anything, or is there any discussion to help those people who just don't want their credit to go bad because they've worked so long and so hard to maintain excellent credit? And you know that the minute your mortgage goes behind, your credit score is going to get hit.
Absolutely. And we try to put as much information out to the public as possible. And so once again, makinghomeaffordable.gov or HOP.gov really gives you all the information. So we want to arm homeowners with the accurate information so when they're talking to their lender, they know what they may qualify for. But also, there are 37 HUD-approved housing counselors in Chicago. And I know that this can be a difficult process. It can be stressful, particularly if you are having trouble making your payments. Sometimes you don't know where to go or who to talk to. And so going to a HUD-approved housing counselor can be a really great first step so you can understand what your options are. And when all these programs were created in 2009, we were in a very deep Great Depression. And so we wanted to build programs that help borrowers for a range of different issues. If you were delinquent, if you're current, if you're underwater. And there have been a lot of program enhancements over the past several years. And so we try to have programs that meet the specific needs of each individual borrower. And it can be overwhelming because there are so many options now, and it can be hard to figure out what you qualify for and what you don't. And so I think going to those two websites, you can arm yourself individually with all the right, accurate information, but also you can talk to a HUD-approved housing counselor who can help you navigate this process. But all these programs are going away, and I think that's the urgency, and I'm really happy that you're having me on today's show because all these programs that were created in 2009 are all going away. And so there's really just a short amount of time to take advantage of HARP right now. And so we really want to get to those 14,000 homeowners in Chicago before this program expires.
And we're going to have you back sometime before these programs expire because, we're going to do all that we can to try to get the information out there and get the word out there for people because there are a lot of seniors in that 14,000 that could benefit from that. And speaking of that, if you have a senior who is in the early stages or some stages of dementia or some memory loss, and they have a child or one of their heirs that they have placed in the position to take care of their business, are they able to sign on a mortgage on behalf of their parent if they need assistance through the HAMP or the HARP program?
Well, you should talk to your lender to get those specific information. There probably are some circumstances where the child or the person responsible can act on behalf of the senior, but you want to make sure that you talk to your lender directly and you make sure that they understand the circumstances so that the senior can be protected through that process. There might be some things that they would have to sign or approve, but definitely contact the lender, and they should be more than willing to help accommodate any of those requests.
All right, we're going to take a phone call. One of our listeners, Tommy from the South Suburbs. You have a question for our guest.
Hello?
Yes, you have a question for our guest.
I was just wondering if you applied once for the HARP loan, can you do it again?
Absolutely. If you've been turned down before, you should definitely try again. Earlier in the program, I talked about some of the changes that have been made to the program. And so if you have been turned down before, you can try again.
But no, I meant I actually got accepted, but I'm still underwater, and I would like to know if I can readjust my my mortgage again.
Did you refinance your mortgage, or did you modify the terms of your mortgage?
I just modified it. I didn't refinance it. I just modified it.
Yeah, you can probably modify your loan again. You should contact the company that you send your mortgage payments to.
Oh, okay, all right. But can you get money back can you refinance it through the HARP and get money back?
No. You mean like a cash out refinance?
Yeah.
No, you cannot.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, Tommy.
You're
thank
welcome.
you. Thank you very much. All right, we're talking with Megan Moore, who is a special advisor of the Office of Congressional Affairs and Communications, the Federal Housing Finance Agency. We're talking HARP today. And when we come back from the break, we'll take more of your phone calls at 773-591-1690, 773-591-1690. Today's program, Seniors Right, Your Advocates for the Savvy Senior, is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. We'll be
The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Greetings, family. This is Salim Muwakil inviting you to fulfill the promise of your weekend by checking in with the most astute radio audience in America on Saturday nights from 7 to 10. The Salim Muwakil Show connects you to the concerns of the community, even as we stay up on planetary affairs. So make sure you put us on your weekend schedule, 7 to 10 on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago.
Hey, Sir Henry Cheatham here, inviting you to jump on the Classic Blues and R&B Express and let the good times roll. On the Classic Blues and R&B Express, you will meet your Miko Copeland.
I'm driving out of Nashville with a body in the trunk.
Adrena.
I miss your loving since you're up and gone.
Trey Williams.
I'm just a ghetto man.
And the ghetto funk man himself, O.B. Buchanan.
Ghetto funk, ghetto funk.
All right here on 1690 AM WVON.
Dad! Come on! Over here! Look at this, Dad! Over!
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree
It's huge!
is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing!
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, biking, fishing, or camping. Or do your own thing when you get there with family and friends. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm James H. Owens. My wife Caroline and I, we're the proprietors of Divine Healing Herbs. We're located at 1621 West on 87th Street, right here in Chicago, Illinois. You can call us at 773-233-4372. Join us every Sunday morning at 6 a.m. as we discuss the latest trends in your health and nutritional needs. We'll take your calls on herbs, natural healing, and detoxifying. It's the Divine Healing Herbs Hour every Sunday at 6 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
Hi, this is Dr. Mason, the doctor in the house. Do you know that over the last year or so, I've lost almost 40 pounds? I've done that because I've changed the way I've been eating for the last few years. Join me to learn more about that on my show, heard every Sunday right here on AM 1690, The Doctor in the House. That's 10 to 11 every Sunday right here on WVON.
Find us on Facebook and like us. Search WVON 1690 AM, The Talk of Chicago. You become eligible for special benefits. Think of us as your special friend with benefits. We're your hookup. 1690 WVON.
Come on, talk to me. You can
Welcome back to the program. I'm Mark Wallace, your host and facilitator of this edition of Seniors Right, your advocates for the savvy senior. My guest, Megan Moore, special advisor of the Federal Housing Agency, Finance Agency, and we're talking about HARP. So we got another caller. And when we come back, we're going to take this call, and then we're going to tell you again, for those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about HARP and who it can benefit and how you can qualify for the program. We're going to give you that information because I know some of you are just tuning in with us, so we want to make sure that you get the information. Robert from the south side of Chicago, you have a question for our guest.
Good morning, people. How you all doing?
Good.
Good. Ms. Moore, this question is, has interest rates gone up, and do they plan to go up in the near future?
Yes, interest rates have started to go up the last about 3 or 6 months, but they do fluctuate. But we have seen interest rates go up a little bit as of lately.
Okay, now, Obama, when he was in, there was some special type of arrangements with this HARP. Will that be changing soon?
No, the requirements for HARP remain the same despite who is the president. So we've only made improvements to the program that will allow it easier for borrowers to refinance and make it easier for more people to qualify. But there haven't been any changes that would make it more difficult. So the program parameters are the same.
Last question. Is this for anybody that needs a mortgage, newcomers, should I say?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, sir?
Newcomers, individuals that don't have a mortgage. Do you guys have any type of arrangement for them?
Yeah.
New home buyers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's different from the HARP program, but there are programs to make it easy for you to get a mortgage, including we have a program available where you can put as little as 3% down to qualify for a mortgage. That's a great question, and you can find out more information about that at FHFA.gov. But there are programs available to put as little as 3% down to qualify for a mortgage.
I can look that up under HARPS, right?
No, check out FHFA.gov.
Are you saying?
Yeah,
are you saying FH? Oh, okay. FH.
FA, correct. HARP is for people who already have a home and they're looking to refinance. And if you're looking to purchase a home and you want to see what your options are, you can go to FHFA.gov.
Okay, miss. Appreciate that, Ms. Moore. You and your host, you all take care, and thanks a lot, okay?
Thank you very much, Robert, for your call. So, Megan, can you tell us again, what are the 4 qualifying requirements for HARP?
Sure. So the first one is that your mortgage must be owned or guaranteed by Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae. And you can find out by going to HARP.gov and looking at the loan lookup tool to determine if your loan is owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. That's the first requirement. The second is that your mortgage must have been originated on or before May 31st, 2009. The third requirement is that your current loan-to-value ratio must be greater than 80%. And there's a calculator on HARP.gov that will let you figure out if you have a loan-to-value ratio greater than 80%. And then the fourth requirement is that you're current on your mortgage with only one late payment in the past 12 months. And so those are the 4 basic requirements. And if you've been turned down before, try again, because there have been changes to HARP since the program was first launched in 2009. And borrowers can refinance through HARP regardless of how far their home has fallen in value. The process is quick and easy, and most homeowners do not have to get an appraisal or have their loan underwritten.
And those are some of the new changes to the program where the loan-to-value ceiling cap has been removed and the appraisal requirements have been waived and some fees have been eliminated.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Absolutely.
All right. So this is not a program for listeners. This is not a program. The HARP program is not a program that you can use to purchase a home. This is for current homeowners with loans that are owned by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, correct?
Correct.
All right. All right, 773-591-1690. If you have a question for our guests, we have Megan Moore with us from the Federal Housing Finance Agency, and we're talking about HARP for those who have homes and mortgages owned by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and they want to refinance them and lower their payment and their interest rate, and they're underwater. This is a program for those who have paid their mortgages on time or who only have one late payment in the past 12 months. Evelyn from Calumet City, you have a question for our guest. Evelyn?
Oh, hi. Yes, I have a VA loan, and I want to know, does the VA loan qualify for refinance on the HARP?
Great question. So there are refinance programs available if you have a VA loan. You should contact the company that you send your mortgage payments to and ask about what you may qualify for. But there are programs available if you do have a VA loan and you want to refinance.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Evelyn.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for your call. All right, 773-591-1690, 773-591-1690. We're talking about the HARP program. Now, HARP is an acronym for what, Megan?
Home Affordable Refinance Program.
All right, and the HAMP program is?
The Home Affordable Modification Program.
And that program, folks, is for those folks who are falling behind on your mortgage and you want to have your loan modified, and you can get your loan modified under the HAMP program, and then you can keep your mortgage payments on time for 12 months, and then you can go back and you can apply for the HARP program. 773-591-1690, 773-591-1690. Going right back to the phone. Sandra, I believe it is. Sandra, welcome to the program. No, this is not Sandra. Let me go to Sandra. Sandra, welcome to the program. Sandra? Sandra? Is this Sandra? Okay. Hello?
Can you hear me, Mark?
Yes. Is this Sandra?
Yes.
Okay, Sandra. What's your question?
Okay. The question is, if you applied for HARP and your credit is excellent and you've never been late, and the mortgage company told you had to have an appraisal, but I understand appraisals have been waived. What is the determined factor that you have to have an appraisal?
That's a good question. So the appraisal requirements are waived in certain circumstances. So your lender, depending on your certain circumstances, they may require, but most homeowners shouldn't have to get an appraisal. But your lender should be able to explain why. But also, if you feel like you're not getting anywhere with your current lender, you can contact another lender too. And that's one of the nice things about the program is that you don't have to refinance with your current lender. You can go to a different lender as well.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Sandra, thank you. So now the guidelines for HARP with any of the qualified lenders, the guidelines are actually made by the Federal Housing Finance Agency, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And these loans under the refinance by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac are still guaranteed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, correct?
Correct.
So why would there be a difference in terms of a lender requirement? Can you speak to that?
Sure. Well, sometimes lenders do have different requirements in addition to the requirements that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have. So it's important to reach out to the lender to discuss your eligibility for the program. And also, HARP is just one of several refinancing options that are available to homeowners. And once again, HARP is unique because it enables homeowners with little to no equity to refinance. But if you're not eligible for HARP, you should still contact your existing lender to see if you qualify for other refinancing options as well that meet your specific needs. So there are sometimes requirements that lenders have in addition to HARP. But once again, if you're not qualified for HARP, you could take advantage of several other refinancing options. So what we try to tell people, we really encourage homeowners to contact their lender immediately. You can also arm yourself with all the right information by going to HARP.gov. We have frequently asked questions. We have fact sheets. We have eligibility guidelines there. So if you go to HARP.gov, you can arm yourself with the facts, with the right information, so that when you contact your lender, you're prepared for that conversation.
Now, Megan, there are some people who are asking to contact you, but you're not the person that they should be contacting. Is that correct?
That's correct. I would love to talk to all 14,000 homeowners in Chicago, but I'm not sure I can do that. But once again, you should go to HARP.gov. And also, we have some other cool resources on the website. We have a map of that shows where these homeowners are across the country. So I can't give you their phone numbers and their addresses, but if you go to HARP.gov, there's an interactive map, and you can go to the state of Illinois, and then you can zero it down by county, by city, and even by zip code. So if you have listeners who work with seniors a lot, and perhaps they have a newsletter or they're active on social media, you can download a sample newsletter that has all the right information about HARP, and you can incorporate that into your communications to your community. You can also look up how many people are eligible in your zip code. I'm actually from Chicago, born and raised in Chatham. So you can go and you can look up 60619, and you can say, hey, how many people are eligible in 60619? And if I'm a church or a community organization and I'm planning to send out a newsletter or a mailing, I can download information from HARP.gov and include that information when I'm communicating with my community or my constituents. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible to arm everyone with the right, accurate information so that we're able to avoid scams. And so once again, you can check out our interactive map. You can also download a sample newsletter at harp.gov.
All right, fantastic. Matt, you have a question for our guest.
Hello?
Yes, Matt, you have a question for Megan?
All right. I'm trying to find out about this making a home affordable thing.
Okay. What's your question?
And, yeah, I've been trying to get refinanced for a while. I'm paying 10-point-some% on the interest. And it's been paying that for a long time. And I'm still underwater. However, I got the money, to make that even with the appraisal. And my question is, who do I talk to get refinanced without going through all these changes? I got the money, never missed no bills. I'm straight. I've been in this since 2002, so I've been paying, regular payments.
Okay, so is your question, Matt, because we're running short on time, so is your question, do you know whether or not your loan is owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac?
No, it's not. And that's the problem. The HARP thing has just never helped me any,
Okay. So what does he do, Megan, in that situation?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you don't qualify for HARP, but once again, HARP is just one of several refinancing options that are available for you. So the first thing I would do is I would contact your lender. I would contact the company where you send your mortgage payments. But also I would contact another lender in your area to explore other refinancing options. The nice thing about HARP is that you don't have to refinance to your current lender. And even if you don't qualify for HARP, you can still try to contact another lender. So my advice to you would be first contact the company that you send your mortgage payments to and ask them what you qualify for. And then also I would contact another lender to see if you might qualify for a program they offer.
Yeah, okay. One more thing. The VA, I'm trying to get refinance under the VA. This wasn't a VA loan initially. So, and again, what kind of bills I would have to pay, fees.
Well, it would vary. Yes, it would vary based on your circumstances. If you don't have a VA loan, I'm not sure how you can refinance into a VA loan. But once again, I think the first step would be to contact the company that you're sending payments to. And then, like I said, another option, I talked about some of the HUD-approved housing counselors that are in the Chicagoland area There's 37 of them, and they can be very helpful, really drilling down on your unique circumstances and exploring what options are available for you and what you can qualify for. But I would definitely probably contact a housing counselor. And once again, you can find the list of those at HUD.gov. Earlier, I mentioned that NID is a housing counseling agency. They have offices on Stony Island and Cottage Grove, and you can find their information at HUD.gov. But I might start there, actually, and contact a housing counselor who can really talk to you about your unique circumstances and see how they can help you lower that interest rate.
All right, Megan Moore, the special advisor to the Federal Housing Financing Agency. Thank you very much. You've been talking us and giving us some great information about HARP. A lot of people have gotten help today, and we thank you for being with us. We'll have to invite you back again as we get closer to the expiration date so that we can give these 14,000 people more information so that they can take advantage of the program. Thank you very much for being with us.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, we'll talk to you again real soon.